I haven't made it any secret on this channel that I absolutely love Transformers Prime. Its animation was astounding for the time, the voice cast was god tier, the story, despite for the most part being a MacGuffin chase, managed to produce some of the best Transformers media of all time. The characters were iconic in this show, from Bulkhead's headstrong protective personality over Miko, RC's struggles overcoming her trauma of losing her partners, Ultra Magnus being MERICA, fuck yeah, for 10 hours straight. But then you have Optimus Prime. This is by far the most strong, fearless, and courageous Optimus Prime of any continuity. A true leader in his demeanor who's always there for his Autobots, and most importantly something beyond that. His family. So let's talk about this fucking beauty then. Holy Lord, man!
America! Fuck yeah! Coming again to save the motherfucking day, yeah, America!
The first edition line of Transformers Prime is one of those lines that got a tragically short release before the aftermarket decided to devolve into a basket of dicks. My first edition Bulkhead cost me about $80, and that was actually a deal, believe it or not. But the first edition Optimus Prime has been the most elusive son of a bitch that I have ever pursued. This is one of the greatest molds that Hasbro has ever made. It's honestly a bucket list figure for me, and I am so fucking glad to have him. Now this ain't the official version because Jesus Christ, holy shit, oh god, whoa! This is a third-party unofficial knockoff of the first edition mold from 2011. The mold had a very limited run in the United States, and Hasbro's excuse was that it wasn't profitable enough, which is complete bullshit. So no, I don't feel guilty for not supporting the original. I wouldn't be supporting the brand, I'd be supporting some asswad on eBay who thinks 200 actual US dollars is an appropriate price for a Voyager class figure. But in all honesty, this thing beats the hell out of the first edition Optimus Prime. Hell, it makes Earthrise Optimus look like a sad piece of shit by comparison. Yes sir, check out this Freedom Fist on wheels. Oh, it's evil. It's diabolical. It's lemon scented. This truck mode is an absolute dead ringer that came right off the screen and into my hands, and I have to say it feels damn good to hold. The chrome painted grille makes this thing pop out like the hardcore metal industrial hard ass vehicle of my dreams. This is such a quintessentially American truck. From the gorgeously painted smokestack with the immaculately painted burn marks at the tip, to the absolutely perfect shades of red and blue that contrast with each other in a way that's absolutely scandalous. The silver painted details line themselves up along the side of the truck in a way that makes the metal detail on this thing really shine. And this guy even has painted taillights. Yeah, eat shit, Earthrise Prime. The translucent blue headlights practically glow right off the figure in ways that blow me away. That with the quality silver paint on his pinned in wheels make this figure one of the best cosmetic jobs on any figure of my collection. I don't typically gush about paint, because as long as it looks like the character, I really don't care how Hasbro goes about it. But now that I see what other companies have the capacity to put out, my mind has changed completely. Where has this been all my life? This thing has had so much love put into the cosmetics, and I cannot appreciate that enough. Even the weapons are painted with a level of detail and perfection that I didn't think I would ever see on a mainline sized figure. There's some issues with tolerances on this figure to look out for, however. The top halves of the truck of my copy had a pin that was fired in too far, so the pin protrudes out ever so slightly, and as a result there's no real way of being able to fully tab in the upper half of the truck cab. Getting the arms folded up into the robot mode to allow the two halves of the truck grille can also be problematic at times. There is also some paint chipping on the trailer hitch, which is an issue in robot mode as well. This should be giving Tone Zone an aneurysm, and it's mostly due to the joint tolerances not being refined like a factory release. But with something that has had this much care and attention put into it, it wouldn't surprise me at all if this were handcrafted by the hands of a god. God damn, everything about this thing screams premium quality, and we haven't even reached the transformation yet. The vehicle mode rolls like an absolute dream. The paint is drop dead gorgeous, and it even has a sculpted in steering wheel and interior that you would only be able to see in his robot mode transformation. This figure came from an era where Hasbro was putting their A game with every single figure that they made. They were producing figures that had respect to the source material, while also having the guts to be their own thing. Engineers didn't have to hyper obsess on budgetary constraints, and they were allowed to go as crazy as they desired. Now, how can I describe a transformation this drop dead perfect? The feet fold down from the top of the truck while a few panels move out of the way for the absolute sorcery of the way that the upper half transforms. The truck grill splits in half and rotates around the back like it's made of liquid metal, and the arms dissect themselves into like 5 different sections before neatly folding out to reveal the chest. Yes, there's full forming, but this is an example of how this can be done right. The robot mode of Optimus is absolutely god tier. It's to the point where I feel like other first edition figures I have in my collection don't fit in because the paint scheme in this mode is so far out of every other figure's league. He looks goddamn marvelous, especially that head sculpt. The silver on his mask, crown, and earpieces is applied with absolutely stellar precision. The yellow painted headlights on his ribcage is a small detail that really helps this thing to pop as well. The red and blue remain gorgeous on this thing, but this is where some of the joint tolerances aren't really working in this figure's favor, because there's a massive amount of paint chipping on the crotch area. The arms, shoulders, and biceps are way too tight, but the waist joint feels like it's dangling by a thread, and I'm afraid this thing's gonna break sometime. The shins are very difficult to tab in during transformation, and require a lot of force to get them flush. In terms of the proportions though, this figure basically knocks it out of the ballpark in terms of perfection and screen accuracy. Yes, you could argue the backpack is bigger than the shell, but this is a real tangible object that's also bound to the laws of physics. It also won't tab in all the way, which makes things get slightly misaligned, which is kind of annoying, but the main issue I have with this figure is the chest windows. They're on hinges that have to be moved in a very specific way for the shoulders to tab in, and that requires you to use a ton of force against the clear plastic they're made of. It does not feel like it's gonna break anytime soon, but I tend to have shitty luck in terms of quality control, don't I? The posability on this thing absolutely rocks. Some people think that articulation is about the number of joints on a figure, but despite this thing having about as much articulation hypothetically as a modern deluxe, he still manages to look goddamn stellar with the amount of joints that he has. The issue is the fact that the joint tolerances are all over the damn place and highly inconsistent in quality. The upper body's tightened way too much, but the waist is extremely loose and it's stressing out the upper and lower half of the body because of the way it has to rotate to transform. This thing does come with a replaceable silver Voldemort looking ass head that comes from the show when he isn't wearing a mask like you're tearing at a local Trader Joe's, but it also comes with a whole ass arsenal of extreme patriotism, including the Star Saber made out of translucent blue plastic and gorgeously painted gold highlights. He also has the dual-wield fuck-huge dude cannons of murderous fuckery from the show, and these are about the length of an entire arm, which is the correct size of a weapon of a god. He also comes with 2 handheld energon blades with a gorgeous coat of silver paint mixed in with the all-spark blue translucent plastic. These weapons integrate with simplicity and leave a seamless look from most sides that make themselves look like a part of the limbs. They all work together really well and make me giddy with fan service, and that is an achievement, because despite Hasbro giving us the most obscure one-time reference bots of all time, none of them made me feel the sense of happiness and nostalgia that the weapons this figure came with had. All in all, I cannot recommend this thing enough. It's an absolute godsend, especially for people who grew up watching Prime like I did. This thing is the best representation of a Transformers Prime Optimus Prime that we will ever get. Honestly, it's just the best Optimus Prime figure we'll ever get. It incorporates all of the best design elements of a standard Optimus Prime, with semi-realistic sensibilities and an attention to screen accuracy and detail that most people can't dream of. All of that with a transformation that's fun and great posability makes this thing the best figure I've ever bought. Buy this thing as soon as possible because I fucking demand it!